So welcome to my channel. My name is Elena. I love all things makeup and beauty. And we're just gonna go ahead and get right into the video. This is gonna be a tutorial with the palette from Nomad Cosmetics. It's the American Parks palette. And I just want to show you a very colorful tutorial. Now, everybody does their makeup differently. I'm just going to put that out there right now. But this is what I found is easier. This is what I found kind of makes your makeup pop a little bit more, if you would say. So let's go ahead and jump into the look. So as I said, everybody does their makeup differently, but what works for me is I'm going to be using an E34 Sigma brush. It is just looks like this. It's like a pencil brush. It is one of the smaller ones, and I use the smaller one because it's easier to go into your inner crease. So basically what I do is I stamp it into the inner part. And as I said, everybody does their makeup differently. Most people usually do it on the they do their outer part first, but I found that this is so much easier to do it like this. So basically, I'm just packing it on like this, and I will blend later. And you just need soft motions. You don't really need to go hard into it at all. And see, that took like 3-5 seconds just to do that. And now we're on to the other eye. As I said, I found this to be a lot easier, and it really does look like you are intermediate more than a beginner when you do this. Now, I'm not saying that, you have to do it like this. As I said, everybody does their makeup differently. But this is what I found easier, and it makes you look really, really good. And also, I just blend a little bit right here where we're going to be putting the other color at. And also, both eyes aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be exact 100% symmetrical with one another. That's just not, how it goes here. So after that, I'm going to still be using this brush that I was using, the E34 from Sigma, and I'm going to go into the next color. And what I'm gonna do is pack it on like I did with the first color. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make a crescent shape like this. I'm not going to blend it, I'm packing it. So that way you can get this shape you want before you go ahead and blend it. And then I'm slightly blending this with the same brush. I didn't wipe off my brush at all. I just go ahead and do this very slightly. You don't need to overdo it. As I said, you're gonna go ahead and blend everything together anyways. And yeah. So you're gonna make a crease, and yes, it's looking a little hard, rough right now, but we will soften up the edges, don't worry. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other eye, and as I said, both eyes are not going to be perfect, okay? We're human, we're not 100% perfect here. And I'm just trying to get the shape, and you don't have to take forever to get the shape. The shape is pretty simple, but also you don't have to do this shape. I just do this shape because it works with my eyes. But you can always do a different shape, and I will be doing more tutorials on different shapes than just this shape also, in case you want, like, not really a round shape, but you want more of that eyeliner shape. And I'm just blending this also, just a little bit. And I'm also putting it right here, so that way we have a blend when we do our shimmers. And this is what it's looking like so far. Now, I like to put on a darker color when it comes to the outer part of the eye. So I'm putting I'm putting the brown called, should have told you guys the names, but the pictures will be on the screen so you can see them. But it's called Half Dome. And I'm just putting that darker brown in the corner, oh so slightly, with the same brush. You don't need to use 8 billion brushes. And I'm just putting it like this. Now I'm packing it on and I'm not blending it quite yet. No, we're not doing that quite yet. And if you don't have this palette, that is also okay. You can always shop your stash with the colors. That is perfectly fine too. Now it is looking a little crazy, okay? Just bear with me on here. And now I'm going to be using the Sigma E44 Firm Blend brush. And this is a little bit bigger than the last one. It is kind of the same shape, but it is bigger. And I'm going to be blending that color inside the burgundy color. I'm not blending the outside quite yet. Just blending the inside like so. And as I said, we will blend everything else. And I just like having a little bit of a darker outer corner. And yes, no, you don't really have to go into too much. This is basically all you've got to do. And it's not going to be perfect. We really want is just mostly just this part to be the darker. We don't want it up here too much. We just want it right here, basically. And once we have that dark color on, and once we have everything where we want it to be, now we're going to be blending. And I'm using the E40 Taper Blender brush from Sigma. And what you're going to do to blend is just blend the outer part of the colors. Do not go in. Don't go in. You just blend the outer like this. And you don't need to also go into here. You just kind of go where your brow bone is. And you're just going to blend it just a tiny bit. Just to get that blend you really, really want. And as I said, nobody's perfect, so it's not going to look perfect. But it's going to look really, really nice. It's not going to look harsh at all. And you might lose some of the pigment from here, but that is perfectly fine. That's why we're only blending so little with the outside right here. And I just have to also tell you guys this again. Everybody does their makeup differently. So as you see a difference between this eye and this eye, this one looks more a little blended. It looks more, I don't know, just looks a lot better. And now we're going to do this part, this eye. And as I said, just very slightly on the outer part. Don't want to go too far in, because if you do, you're just going to basically just blend everything away. Then you won't have anything, and then you're just going to have to restart. And as you see, there is some pigment that did go ahead and lose its color, but we can just fix that up. And it's not going to be a big deal anyways. We are actually going to basically add another shade to our brow bone. But I'm just basically doing it on how we want. Now, as I said, we did lose a little color, but it is not that bad. And it could just be my lighting also. But yes, as you see, both are blended, not too harsh. And now we're going to go ahead and do my lower lash line. And I'm going to be using the first brush. I used the E34 Dome Utility brush. right here. And I'm gonna go into the orange type of color, burgundy red. I'm not so sure. But I'm just going to tap it on first. You don't need to rush with this process. I'm just tapping it, and then I will blend it. And we'll blend it just like this. I will go a little bit up here. But what I do afterwards is actually blend these two colors together, but very, very slightly. As you can see, just where they meet, just like that. And you don't have to if you don't want to, but I do that so that way we get everything together and it looks blended. Now you may get some fallout also, and that is perfectly fine. We will wipe that away. As I said, I just dab. And like I said, nothing's perfect. And I'm just slightly doing it this way. As I said, I just blend these so they come together. Now, as you see, this eye is definitely more than this eye, but we will clean that up. As I said, nothing is perfect. And if you want to, you can actually go lower. Like, you don't have to specifically, you know, only be attached to this part. You can go lower like this part. Now, I will clean this up just because it is a little bit too low. But that is not that much of a problem. And as you see, I did go ahead and blend. Now, to fix this up, I just use my brush that I used for my foundation, and all I'm gonna do is just this. Just brush it out like so. You don't need to see, as you see, it's already looking better. You just do this, and you're gonna have some color right here too. All you're gonna just do is just put a little bit of more foundation on, or use this brush. Also, I will go ahead and I will clean off this brush. And as you see, we got this. Now you see there's some red. Just go ahead and I'm just gonna clean that off. And as you see, nothing there, and I'm just blending my foundation back in here. Now, people do this differently, but this is how I do it. And as I said, we will go ahead and fix everything at the end. But yeah. So this is what it's looking like so far. Now we're going to go ahead and put the color in our bone brow, or our brow bone. Excuse me, my goodness. And I am going in with that brush that I went ahead and went in for everything else. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I always be losing my brushes, even though, like, it's right there. And I'm just slightly just going to clean it off. And next I'm going to go into this lighter green. And also, it's trust the process type of deal. When it comes to makeup and you're not so sure on it, do not be afraid. Really don't be afraid. This may look a little funky, but at the end, it will come together. So don't be deteriorated if it's not looking perfect, because nothing is perfect. We're human, as I said, and everybody does it differently. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just lightly putting it in, and then I'm lightly just blending those two together like that. And usually I do my other eye off camera, but I've been doing this eye on camera so that way you can watch it twice and you don't have to keep going back, rewinding the video. I'm just dabbing it on. And then I'm just blending it. Now this does have a little bit more pigment to it than the first one. We'll go ahead and add more pigment to the other eye once we got this one. And also, I'm just making a little crescent right here too, for these to come together, basically, like this. And then, as I said, we are going to slightly blend these together. Now, it's not going to be perfect, okay? And I also put a little bit over here, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Now, I'm going back in with the other eye, and I'm going to put more pigment on it. Like this. And as I said, I just put a little bit right there too. And I'm going to blend it together and make that little crescent right here. Now, you don't have to blend this part if you don't want to. I don't, but you can. And if you are gonna blend it, just blend it like you did on the outside of the first one. Just lightly go on this part. That's all you have to do. Okay, so we are done with the mattes. As I said, it's trust the process type of deal. But this is what it's looking like so far. Just want to show you from different angles. And now it is time for the shimmers. Now, what I use for shimmers is a F70 concealer. Now, it says concealer, but you can use it as a shimmer also. It is little. It is not too big as some of them. Like, for instance, we have this one from ColourPop. Do you see the difference? This one has more of a triangle to it. So that when you shape your shimmer, it is a lot easier to shape. But as I said, everybody has different preferences. So I'm going to go ahead and go into one of the shimmers. And I'm going to pop the color up on the screen so you don't have to worry. And as I said, you can chop your stash. But this is what the shimmer is looking like. Now, usually I spray my brush, but with this palette, I found out that I really don't have to spray my brush. And I am going right here. Now, all I'm doing is just swiping it, and I'm putting it a little into my crease also. That's why I told you that it's easier to have a pointed triangle top. And I just dab right here to blend the matte and the shimmer. And as I said, easier for a triangle top to be doing this. Like this. Now I'm going to put it kind of halfway through, but not all the way halfway through. A little bit more than half. And you don't want to over put it, because if you over put it, you're just going to cover up the matte that you had. Like this. And we can add or build a little bit if you want. It is up to you. If you want more of an intense shimmer, you can always spray your brush with some setting spray. Don't really do water. I mean, I guess you could do water, but water really doesn't do anything. Definitely do not spray it with alcohol, because that will dry it out. And we're just putting it right here. And as I said, I'm just dabbing the outside. And I'm putting a little bit in the crease. Not too much in the crease. And this is what it's looking like. Okay, so next color. I'm just lightly putting it right here. I'm gonna move a little forward. And where we did that, you're going to meet. So this is why I think a triangle is a lot easier. Now you can use the other one I showed you also, because if you don't have this type of brush, that is okay also. but we are just going ahead and doing this. And then I usually just put it a little bit further in where the first shimmer is, so that way we can blend it together. And I will have an inner corner shade, but like this. Not too hard. Now, it just takes time and practice, basically. But as I said, this is what I found is a lot easier for me. And as I said, I'm gonna repeat myself 100 times so that way everybody can get this clear in their mind that everybody does their makeup differently. And as I said, I just swipe it a little past the red or the shimmer, whatever color you want to call it, so that way it blends. And I just meet these two up. Like I said, don't go far up, because otherwise you're just going to cover that matte up, and that was just a waste of a matte and a waste of a color. Now, if it happens, it happens. You know, we're human, we make mistakes, and you know, makeup is just for fun. I also want to put that out there now. Makeup is just for fun. It's not supposed to be anything stressful, anything like that. Next, we're going to be using my Sigma Pencil E30. Now, this is a pencil brush, and I'm using this to put the next shimmer in my inner corner. You definitely want something a little bit more pointier, so that way it's a lot easier to put in your inner corner. I'm just going to put it like this. That is it. Not too much. Now, if you want, you can add a little bit more. Totally up to you. You can always put it down if you want. But this is what I'm doing it. And you don't want to put it too much in here either. You can if you want, but you kind of want to have everything come together. And as I said, it is a trust the process type of a deal. So this is what everything looks like. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some mascara on, and I will show you the finished look with the finishing touches. Now, before I do that, I do want to quickly come on here, and I wanted to show you the fallout that I have. And I just take a very big brush like this. It doesn't have any name on it. It's a very old BH brush. And you're just going to wipe it like this. Very slightly, though. Don't be going too hard. As you see, we got this fallout. This fallout might not come out. Usually, I just try to dab it like this. And all fallout is not going to come out all the way. If it really, really bothers you, you can reapply concealer or foundation, whatever you feel comfortable with. But I don't mind a sparkle. Yeah, we got most of the fallout out. So let me do my mascara and I will be right back. Okay, so this is the finished look. I am not going to be doing eyeliner in these tutorials for two reasons. One, some people aren't comfortable with doing it yet as a beginner. Two, I'm not comfortable doing it, okay? I take forever to do my eyeliner and it is not the most perfect thing ever. So you can always look up an eyeliner tutorial from somebody else's channel, but this is what the eye look is looking like. Let me go ahead and show you a little closer. Now, the lights may make it a little different, but that is all right. You get the gist of what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, that is going to be the finished look. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I have a lot more other content than just this content, doing tutorials. If you want to go ahead and check out those videos, I would highly appreciate it. But I'm going to be doing more tutorials, considering that a lot of people on my Instagram love my looks and really want to know how I came together to do it. Because I'm not a professional. I was just like you at one time, and I kind of just played around and I found a lot easier things. I found a lot of easier hacks, a lot of tips, And as I said a million times, everybody does their makeup differently. But this is gonna be it, and please stay tuned for the next video. If you like to watch my other videos, please do. But till then, you guys stay beautiful, stay healthy, and stay safe. Bye.